Welcome to the Empowerment Shift podcast. I'm your host, Boyan Dobrev, and I'm here to help you unlock greater levels of awareness, clarity, and empowerment. In each episode, we'll dive into inspiring stories and higher perspectives to help you break free from limiting beliefs so you can navigate challenges with grace and step into a life of alignment and empowerment. Ready to make the shift? Let's get started. Are you easily triggered or offended by people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk, or anyone else for that matter? If that's the case, you're easily manipulated. And do you really want to be easily manipulated? I don't think so, right? So here's what I suggest you do about it. You see, these days, it seems like we're living in a very polarized world. Left versus right, good versus bad, and so on and so on and so on. And in fact, it's not something new, actually. If you think about it, we would always live in tribes, our tribe versus their tribe. And being part of the tribe gives you a sense of power and unity and bonding. And so therefore, oftentimes when something bad would happen in the world, then we would blame the other tribe. We would complain about them. We would put them as the enemy. And by doing so, we're giving them our power. We're saying, I feel bad because of something that he or she did or said. And that's not a very empowering way to live. And what I suggest you do, I'm going to give you 3 different perspectives in this video. And then I'm going to wrap it up and bring it down to the very essence of this topic. So first of all, every soul came here for a mission. We're all here for different reasons. We do not know what other people's reasons are. We often don't even know what our mission is. But as long as we're trying to understand why someone else is a certain way, it's as if we're standing under them. We're looking up and we're seeing them up there and we're like, that's not fair. They shouldn't be up there. They shouldn't be saying that. And then we want to bring them down, right? We think that they are the reason for our unhappiness. And the soul came here for so many different reasons, and every soul has its own set of beliefs, of values. You know, we all have our own astrology, our human design, our gene keys that tell us more about why we are a certain way. And this is based on where we were born, when we were born, and then eventually, as we were growing up, how were our parents, our siblings, our teachers, our environment. All of these things have a huge formative impact on how we show up in the world. Donald Trump is the way he is because of all of those things combined, and so is Elon Musk. So from that perspective, the first thing I suggest is you to just adopt an attitude of live and let live. A powerful way of approaching this is looking at this person and saying, I accept this creation. Whatever it is, I accept it. And I release the need to know why they are a certain way. The second tip I want to share with you is give people the benefit of the doubt, right? Trump is now playing with his tariffs. Nobody really knows what's going on. There's speculations, is he playing checkers, chess, or 4D chess? Give people the benefit of the doubt, because we may look back at this moment in 2, 3, 4 years time and go like, wow, that was actually really smart. And that was the best thing that happened. And so zoom out, drop the emotional intensity of this moment and ask yourself, what if this is supposed to be this way? What if there's something better that wants to emerge from all of this? And then the third thing I really invite you to do is to look at Trump and Elon or whoever else triggers you as a mirror, as a reflection of something that's inside of you. And that could be 2 things. First, it could be that they remind you of someone that you grew up with, a family member, a teacher, a friend, and they had a certain characteristic or a trait that reminds you of that person who really annoyed you or who betrayed you or who did something bad to you. and that hasn't been shifted and hasn't been processed. So this is being triggered again. Maybe you're like, oh, Trump is so controlling and he wants to have all the power. Well, was there someone else in your family or in your environment who was like that? Or secondly, maybe it's just triggering something that you have inside of you. If you consider Trump to be controlling, are there aspects in your life where you're maybe a little bit too controlling in work or in your family or anywhere else? If Elon is a certain way, he's messing and he wants to know everything and he should stick to his own business and not meddle with politics. Well, are you innocent of that as well? Like, are you never meddling and putting your nose in other people's business? Maybe not. So I know this can be really tough, but it is so powerful. Like, what is it in them that is in me as well? I'll give you an example. During COVID, for example, I had this judgment towards people that would live in fear of catching the virus, fear of dying, wearing masks and vaccinating and like social distancing and telling on people who weren't, obeying. And so I was triggered. And then after a while, I realized why I was triggered. They were afraid of the things I just mentioned. But even though I wasn't afraid of those things, I was afraid of something else. I was afraid of losing my freedom. And it was so powerful to realize this so that I could shift it and let go of this fear of losing my freedom, and then let go of the judgment towards others who have other fears. So really looking at yourself is super powerful. And so to bring this all together, what does it all come down to? It is ownership. Taking ownership of your own happiness, your own well-being, mentally, physically, emotionally, and letting go of this power that you've been giving to people outside of you. At the end of the day, what happens in your own house is infinitely more important than what's happening in the White House. They are not the reason for how you feel unless you give them that power. If you take that power back to you and you say, me and only me, I'm in control of my life, I'm in control of my happiness and well-being, I'm going to take that ownership and I'm going to see what I need to change for me, for my family, for my work, then what they are doing suddenly no longer affects you. I'm not triggered at all by anyone outside of me, like by those politicians. Doesn't affect me. And I just give them the benefit of the doubt as well. I'm like, let's see what happens. And when you adopt that attitude of let's see what happens, it is so powerful. Because then you're like, well, I got my business, they have their business, and then there's the universe's business. And I believe that the universe is a loving universe, and that everything that exists on the planet is because it is allowed to exist. And therefore, who am I to judge what should be existing and what should be not existing, what should be happening, what shouldn't be happening, how people should behave or shouldn't behave? It's none of my business. I just focus on me. And that is so, so empowering. And I really wish you can take this on board, because the more people take ownership, the better people are going to feel and the better society is going to be for it, because we're going to be less judgmental, less easily manipulated, and we're all going to live in greater levels of peace and joy. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for tuning in to the Empowerment Shift podcast. Remember, every shift in awareness is a foundation for powerful change. If this episode sparked something within you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend who could use a shift too. And please leave a review so we can spread this message of empowerment further. Together, let's create a ripple effect of transformation. Until next time, keep making those shifts, stay connected, and stay empowered.